there was an addition done on a piece of property, and it exceeded, no, it exceeded that. So
Okay.
it would need it. I require, I only want you to take out this one down here.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I
Right.
don't know.
All right. Other than that, I don't have any problems with it unless the board, unless the public has any comments about permit fees and how they're distributed. Or does anybody on the public want to ask questions about that?
Yeah, I'd like to ask some questions.
Sure.
Is this the one you had from last time that nobody out here saw, as far as what's in that?
This one,
Yeah,
this is a new one,
okay.
not the old.
Is this on the website?
No.
Okay, because they got to approve it yet.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
And they have to have a public hearing.
No.
No, not to change a building permit application or the building permit fees. They don't have to have a public hearing and they don't have to vote on it. They only have to change it.
Well, yeah, but you're taking things out, and according to this from New York State, you have to have copies before you read it. And then we can have a discussion about it. If
Sure.
I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I talked to a couple other towns. I talked to the assessors, not the assessor, excuse me. I talked to code enforcement. I talked to the town clerks.
We're not changing the law, we're changing the application.
You can modify an application, you can modify the building permits. But if you're changing a law,
Yeah.
you have to vote,
Public
have a public hearing and all that.
Okay.
But to modify a building permit application and then to modify the building permit fees, that just goes to the board. They don't have to make a vote on that. I understand what you're saying.
Okay,
But
because the original one was,
I've
came off
done
the internet.
Okay, so basically, I understand that, but the New York State does require you to have votes and public hearings if you're gonna change any law.
The law.
Right.
But to
Because-
modify
okay.
the building permit and the building permit fee, that is up to the board.
Okay.
That's why I have the fee in front of me, I'm gonna read a couple of them
Yes.
off, and if you guys have any questions, I'll be glad
Okay.
to ask them.
Because I know this one, like I said, it came off the internet.
Correct.
And according to the people I talked to, you can't do that. You can't take somebody else's building permit and implement in the town of Fremont because it violates what you already have on your books.
Well, you need to just reach out to your attorney. Or-
But this what you gave us is the law. We're not changing the law.
This
We're
is not a
changing
law.
Just the
But
permit.
The things that are in there, like with the old one, some of the stuff has been omitted. You know, my understanding is.
I do understand what you're saying, but this is not a law. This is only a building permit application and fee. Is only a modification of this. They aren't changing a law because in your law, it says you have adopted the uniform standards and building codes of New York State. That is a law.
Okay.
If you change that law, you have to now vote and have a public hearing.
Okay.
But to modify a simple building permit application and a fee schedule, they can do that without that public hearing.
Okay.
I agree with you about the law, and that's why the town adopts the New York State Building Standards and Codes. That is the law,
Yeah.
okay? And then they can set their permits and their permit fees.
Okay.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make this thing easier for everybody, and hopefully it's better understandable. For example, let's say you hire somebody to come on your house, and let's say you hire somebody who comes on your house, you need insurance, okay? What happens if you come there and you hire an Amish or a Mennonite? They don't have insurance. Do you want to give me your homeowner's insurance policy to cover them in case they get hurt? So I am here to protect you as homeowners,
Right. I understand
okay?
that.
And I'm here to protect you against unethical contractors. You would not believe,
Oh, I've seen it.
it's worse. So,
Believe me, I've seen it.
so basically, when a building permit comes in, it's not the it's helped to just offset what they pay me, but it's not the make revenue, it's just to offset what they pay me somewhat. I mean, but the bottom line is, a building permit, anything that needs to be inspected,
Mhm.
needs a permit. Electrical, plumbing, gas. You may not like what I'm gonna say, but if you're replacing your hot water tank or your gas furnace, you need to get a permit for that. Because if you don't, if something happens to that gas furnace and the house catches fire, insurance company's gonna come and say, how old has this been? They're gonna say it's a new installation. They're gonna call my office and say, has a building permit been issued? I'm gonna say, no, insurance company's not gonna cover you. That's why I'm here to protect you, get you a permit in hand. I do the final inspection, and if everything is okay, we'll be fine. Because they may miss something, a drop tube in a gas line or something like that. Go ahead.
Even a hot water tank?
Hot water tank,
Really?
absolutely.
I don't need any replacement.
No, I'm just saying, because
You know, just in case.
I talked to a heating company, Keeler's Heating Company, they're all over the place, really
Yeah,
good all
yeah.
stuff. And every time I see him on job site, "Did you get a permit?" He goes, "We don't need a permit, we're just exchanging it." I said, well, you may be exchanging it, but you're also dealing with gas or electric, venting. Because I could go to a house and they could have a gas line vent going into their chimney, and they could have a wood fireplace in their house. That's illegal. You can't do that. So I'm basically just here to protect you guys. So, and the fee schedule is not that astronomical. It's just basically simple, there's zoning permits that's gonna be required because you've got zoning you gotta comply with. Special use permits for something that you might wanna have something to do, like a home occupation or something. Variances, if you don't have a lot big enough to build on, you'll need a variance for that. And then project costs are basically on, if you're gonna build an addition, you take the project costs, it's basically between $2,000 or less, it's $35. You replace a furnace, it's maybe $3,000, you pay a $37 fee, you're protected by the village, and then when your insurance company wants to see a certificate of compliance, you have that. Because a lot of people do, they ask me for that, right? If anybody's got rental property, it should be inspected by the code officer, so you get a certificate of compliance, saying it's been inspected and everything's in order. Simple roof replacement's $50. Swimming pool above and below, $35 for above, $100 for below. Heating, electrical, hot tub, generator, hot water tank, those are simple $60, $50, $60. It protects you as your homeowner. Building permit renewal, 50% of it has to go longer than a year. And then there's stuff in there for solar. So I've got to make some change, other than, I would like to just do a couple changes on this fee schedule, because something like this, application for special use, application for second request. Yeah, they're fair, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. So on this application, this should be a little bit more darker. And on this application, please, just if you don't understand if you need an application or permit, call me. I will ask. If you ask, I'll tell you, you don't need a permit, all right? And I'm that easy to work with. But if you don't get a permit, there's a $200, minimum $200 fee for the permit, but if you don't get it prior to the work. And that's just something in there so that people get it, yes.
So like any regular maintenance,
All right, so maintenance on houses, if you're gonna put siding on a house, you don't need a permit.
Okay.
If you've got one layer of shingles on your roof and you want to cover that with shingles or metal or shingles, you don't need a permit. If you have 2 layers of shingles on your roof, they gotta come off. You need a permit for that. Because people don't understand the weight. When I took the roof off of my house I renovated, there was 9 layers of shingles on it. And I just don't know how straight on the roof got, it was so straight. I was literally shocked. So stuff like that you don't need a permit for. Retaining walls, no permits. Driveway, sidewalk, no permits, nothing like that. Fences, we're gonna discuss that a little bit more because I'm gonna talk to the board about something like that. Go ahead.
So if you replace your roof, you gotta get a permit?
Only if you're taking off the shingles.
Oh.
If there's 1 layer of shingles on it, you can cover it. Don't let somebody come knocking on your door. I'm gonna give you an example. Knock on your door and they say, we're here to check your roof and we wanna know if we'd like to do a free inspection on your property. Okay, that's fine. They did an inspection, they got the contract, they got the, they got it going on, they got the money from the people. But siding on a house, single story, and a shingle roof. What would that normally cost? Anybody got an idea? If you did that today?
Oh, shingle roof, I don't know.
A shingle roof should cost you about $10,000 to $12,000.
Do it yourself, you can do it for like $3,500.
Correct.
So-
So
I
if
did
you-
mine for $5,000.
Right, I did mine for $5,000. So, but if you
You
hire
did it
somebody,
yourself.
right?
So, to make
But they
it
put
clear-
siding on the house as well. They convinced them to put siding on it. The homeowner calls me up. They didn't need a permit because they just covered and they just put siding on. It's fine. The homeowner come up and I said, "What's the problem?" He said, "Well, the siding's falling off." I said, "Okay." So I asked, "Who's the contractor?" And they told me. It's like, "Huh, here we go." Another one charged them $190,000 for a roof and siding.
What?
I am not joking.
Oh, wow.
This happened in the last 2 years. So if you have a question, the only question you don't ask me is a stupid question, because I have a lot of stupid answers, and I'm afraid I'll be glad to share them with you.
So what you're saying, if you have 1 layer of shingles and you want to do a layover, you don't need a permit?
Absolutely not. If you want to cover that with purlins and metal, you don't need it.
how long's that been in effect?
That's always been in effect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been doing this for 15 years. So Amish. Amish guys coming on your house and I say, hey, we need to get insurance for the contractor, the guy says, well, he's not on insurance. They are required to get it's an attestation of exemption, which is also known as the CE-200 form, which gives them the exemption for the insurance. They try to give me a letter that says we're protected under our father's umbrella, that's not acceptable. They have to file it, it has to be filed with the state, and I have to have a copy of it. That protects the homeowner from any kind of animosity or danger, or if they get hurt or whatever, you guys are covered. But the last thing I want to do is have Amish guys come work on their house, and you would not kid you not, I went to a job site, a roof 2 stories high, and they had 2 14-year-old kids on there. So, like I said, my job is to protect the people of the town and to make sure that you get what you pay for, and if you have somebody come up to you and question about a stupid estimate, call me. I'm here to protect you against people like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna need your phone number.
Yeah.
One last question.
If you go on the website and just Chuck Cagle, Code Enforcement Officer, it'll be the first thing on your page, because I work for 11 towns. It'll be right on there.
So on this new form that you have?
Yeah.
Are the vinyl windows still in there?
Vinyl window replacements, okay? If you're gonna replace a window and they're the same size, you don't need a permit.
And it's only if you change the size?
If you change the size of that window, you
Thank
need a
you.
permit because it's structural.
Thank you.
And also not only that, the bedrooms have to have 5.7 square feet of opening space in a bedroom window for exit egress for a fire.
What if you're just replacing them though?
You buy a double hung window so both sashes come out. That's how I did it in my house, so my original house is from 1870.
So new construction and replacements?
New construction inserts.
Yep.
If you got an old house that's got a smaller window, just make sure that both sashes come out, and you'll have measures up to 5.7 square feet. Just take 2 times 3, that's 6 square feet. Yes,
You said about the driveway. Now,
Yes.
it's concrete,
doesn't
blacktop?
matter. You're asking if I'd rather do one or the other? Or
No, I'm asking.
No permits,
No
no.
permit for blacktop or?
Nothing, no driveways, no sidewalks, no retaining walls. Any shed that's over 144 square feet, you need a permit for.
Okay,
If
that's
you
12
get
by
2 of
12.
those and separate them, that's still not gonna work. All right, just so you know. I'm here to answer any questions you have. I'm glad to answer them for you, so. Other than that, you can have this back, because I think we settled on that, okay? Anybody else have any questions?
Have you used that abatement procedure in other towns? And
I used to get some Professor Geneseo.
And,
They took the house down.
okay,
They took the house down, they cleaned the lot, and they attached it to his taxes. He died. Right after that.
I mean, we've talked about that here before, and they've been saying, you know, they don't want to do that because they're afraid the town's going to get sued.
If I do the proper processing as I would process it to Mr. Fitzgerald, and is she still alive?
No.
Oh.
Well, yeah. She lives up on Great Hill, right?
So I would serve,
No.
now, the wife and husband, are they both alive? Are Mr. and Mrs. still alive?
Yes.
So I would find them and I would issue them personally, certified mail, you have 30 days. If they don't comply within 30 days, I start court action. If I start court action, and as long as I submit my paperwork properly, then the town has the authority to do that, yes. Yep. In the village of Cohocton, I don't even have to ask the board. I got a guy that would cut his grass. I sent a crew in there to cut it. They cut it good, the board paid him, and they put it on their taxes.
Probably grass to get, what about, say, removal of junk? Is that a little different?
Well, that's why we need to go to court, because it would have to be a court injunction, because we're talking personal property.
Yeah.
We're talking other stuff. I mean, there's nothing there that's worth anything. I've been out back,
But
everything.
that's
there-
where Hornellsville got in trouble years ago, and that's
Right.
why we were.
Private property, so in my notices, it'll say private property, anything on the property, the house, the garage that's collapsing, any campers, any trailers, any tractors, if there's a tractor out there, any stuff like that will be in my notice. And then when we go to court, the judge will see that it's in my notice, and if nobody's gonna come to court. He might send his daughter here, but I don't know what stage he is at this point. I just know he's just not coming home.
And then the bill goes on their taxes, and they don't pay their taxes, it goes to the auction.
When you you go buy a property at an auction, all back taxes are sponged. You don't have to pay the back taxes on the,
Yeah, I
on the
understand.
property.
So the town would lose out on that.
Yes, 330.
Unless you made a law that says any maintenance or stuff like that, like, Cattaraugus County, Allegany County, if they cut the grass on these properties, any maintenance bill that the town has incorporated will go on the sale. Will be added, you can put that in your law. You would
I
just
wonder
have,
if Steuben County would allow that.
I was told that if you did that, say we put a charge on their taxes for mowing, that an individual could just pay their taxes and not that.
I don't disagree with that, and actually, I'll call the finance officer and ask that question, because that's a very valid question. I will call them, get that answer for you.
Because I think they could just
I
ignore it.
agree with what you're saying, because if Steuben County says, you buy a property at tax auction, all right, and the town goes in there, cuts the weeds and clean up, you got a $3,000 bill, the county may have it in that they don't have to pay them.
Yeah.
It's just like, I know for a fact in the village of Avoca, if I put something on their taxes, then they go pay their taxes with the county, they only have to pay their taxes. So that's something I'll check on, and then if the county won't do it, then the county won't do it. That's all I could say to that. And then that would be pretty much expunged by the taxpayers. But that person or nobody in that family would be able to buy that property at tax auction, unless they paid all prevailing taxes being prior. Anything else?
One last thing, and then
Yeah.
I'll shut up. When you assess a fine on somebody and they don't pay it, like I said, I know the procedure,
Right.
and you turn around and you give them another fine. Supposedly,
No.
you can't do that.
Well, it has to be in your law, okay?
Okay.
If it's not in your law where I can, like, for example, if one of my towns, I can write your ticket right on the spot.
Yep.
But me, I'm gonna try to get you to cut your grass. But if you're gonna come at me with your lawnmower, I'm gonna write you a ticket. It would have to be in your law that I can write a ticket. The fines in this town would be assessed by the court.
Yeah.
And it is $50 a day, minimum up to $250 a day, in first offense, and then it's $350, or up to $350, and then it's up to $750,
If
But
they refuse to pay.
if you refuse to pay.
But
But,
it
yeah,
can be brought-
well, if you refuse to pay, the court can,
Yeah, they can, the
the
court
court can do what they need to do on their end.
can.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter, like, if you wanted to pour concrete for a 300-foot driveway, I wouldn't need a permit?
300-foot driver would have to have turnaround place halfway through it, because it's over 250 feet.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Just
there's
wanted to
no
throw that in
permit,
there.
no
You said the
permit.
300, so I threw the 250.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like I said, I got stupid information, I'd be glad to have you to answer for it. And spread it around town. I had a guy call me that lives in Fremont, and he was concerned about why we need permits and why do we pay fees, and I explained it to him, the same way I'm trying to explain it to you, and he says, we didn't know that. We didn't know you were here to help protect us as homeowners, and I'm here to protect the town from any kind of liability or lawsuit from any of the taxpayers if something happens. I may tell the town they may have to fix something in their barns, and they're gonna have to do it. It's just the way the code reads. I treat them just, I would write my own mother a grass ticket, and I cut her mow, I cut her lawn for her. That's just, I'm just fair across the board.
You wouldn't go mow for it?
Huh?
You wouldn't go mow for it?
Oh, I do mow for it. Yeah. Anything else? You can get my number right off the website, you can get my number right on, just punch my name into the Google search box, it's there. People say they can't get a hold of me, I stand right in front of them, I punch my name in, I hit it, and you can't tell me you can't get a hold of me, so it's there. It may say town of Cohocton, or town of Wayland, or village of Avoca, but it's in there.
Just put code officer.
Yeah, just put Charles Cagle.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you put Charles A. Cagle in there, it'll come right up. All
And it's
right?
on their website.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's on the website, and it's also, they should have some cards. Do you still have cards?
I do.
All right, so if anybody needs anything, feel free to call me. All right? Anything else?
No. Neil, you good?
I'm fine, thank you.
Everybody?
The last meeting, we had the same kind of.
Yeah.
But just kind of spread around
But
what
it's
we
good.
talked about,
Yeah.
all right? And again, with what you said about the changing of that, I've modified several applications and fees, and it's just not a law, it's just part of